Morning, folks. How you doing this morning? It's good to see you. Well, actually, it's good to see me because I'm the one that's in the screen looking back at me. Hope I don't scare you this early in the morning. Anyway, no sky report today. It's drizzling out, and we sure need the rain. So there's nothing in the sky. And, well, I'll tell you what, it's time to do a little maintenance here in the shop. I'm going to clean up a numbering machine. Clean, lube it, show you how I take care of it, and introduce you to the world, the wonderful, exciting world of numbering machines. Yes, hang on, fasten your seatbelts, get ready for unlimited excitement. Back in a minute. Okay, I'm going to try to keep this centered in the viewfinder for a change so you can actually follow what I'm doing. This is commonly called a numbering machine. Some people also call it a numbering box or a numbering wheel or something like that, but it's we call it a numbering machine. It sits inside the press like this, and when the paper smashes up against it, it pushes down this little plunger on this side right here, and when it does so, it rotates the little wheels. You may be able to see the wheels rotate somewhat as I press this. And just like a speedometer, every 10 it flips over the next one and the next one and the next one. You can see it's inked up with black ink right now. It's just got done doing a numbering job, and I need to clean it off and store it somehow and keep it lubricated. Now there's a lot of ways to do this, and some guys, old timers anyway, had little boxes for these. They put them in there and fill it up with oil, and they would just sit and soak in oil. Of course, that kept it from rusting, and it's always a good idea. But I've never had any rusting problems with these. The way I handle it is like this. I have a few items here. I have a pair of vice grips. These grips I'll use to push down on the plunger and hold it down so that the little pawl mechanisms in there are disengaged and I can rotate the wheels easily. But first, let's get rid of most of the ink. I like to use this stuff, the CRC Brake Clean. It seems to work nearly as well as the old carbon tetrachloride, which is not available anymore. They used to clean everything perfectly, but this stuff works very, very well. A little spray of that seems to dissolve the ink off of there readily. Close the plunger down, make sure it's tight. Now I can rotate the wheels by just running my thumb over them with a paper towel. This allows me to get all the ink off of it. If I need a second shot, which I do, give it a little blast. And boy, it's coming out nice. You also want to keep it lubricated. And to do that, WD-40, our friend, give it a liberal blast of that. Again, wipe that down and wipe off all the excess and run the wheels under your thumb. I also recommend you use good paper towels for this. Going cheap, it just doesn't work. They're not absorbent enough, not strong enough. I prefer these Bounties. They're expensive, but they work very well. And lastly, to get the coating of lubricant off the surface of the numbers, which are engraved on the wheels or cast into the wheels, you want that to be clean and free of any kind of lubricant because the ink needs to stick to it. And so I just use a little alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol. And rub the wheels down good. Make sure there's no more WD-40 left on the surface of the wheels. But it is down inside where the shaft and the wheels turn in order to keep it lubricated. Also down inside the plunger area, so it works too. Now these particular numbering machines, they would come, I would say, in the middle range of quality. They're Count Bimatics, made in Italy, no longer made as far as I can tell. They're, I don't think they're as strong as most other machines because you can see where the plunger hits down here on the back side that it's pounding into the steel that makes the outside casing. This steel seems to be kind of soft because it shouldn't react like that to a simple smashing of the number down. And it's not too bad though. You get a lot of life out of them. Also, it allows you to, there's a little control here. You can flip one side of this cam one way to the other and the numbers will run the other direction. So you can go forward number, you can go backward number. You usually use backward numbers though. The reason for that is most of the work you're going to do is in a job shop is consecutive numbering of things like cards perhaps, or tickets, or invoices or something. And you want the numbers to, after you've run the job, you want the numbers to go from the lowest to the highest at the back. So the first one you take would be number 1, and say so up there, and then number 2. But you actually reverse the order of the objects when you run them through the press. You take the top one and it becomes the bottom one. Take the next one, it becomes the next bottom one. So you have to run the numbers backwards. So the first number you're going to print up here is your highest number, and then the next lowest number, the next lowest number. So every time you hit the plunger, the numbers retreat and go downwards. That's called backwards numbering. It's the way you usually do it. Once in a while, forwards are important depending on how many operations you're going to do on the job after you number. I like to make it a habit to make numbering the very last thing I do. That way you can stick with the backwards, what I'm used to. And if you should waste a sheet or mess up, you have a chance to recoup the situation if numbering's the last thing you do. If you end up having to perforate or something after you've numbered and you ruin a sheet then you have to go back onto the numbering machine. You have to maybe reset the whole job up just to make up for the numbered units that you've ruined. It's a negative experience, believe me. So I always try to do numbering very last. Okay, that is lubricated, it's clean, can sit in a drawer for, where am I here? There we go. Sit in a drawer for days, weeks, months, years. It'll still be fine. And the next time I want it, I pull it out, lock it in the form, and off we go. All right, time to get back to work. Well, we're back. I think that's a pretty good start on numbering machines. There's a lot more to it. I'd like to share with you some of the other machines in my collection. We've got jumbo numbers and miniature machines and center drive, offset wheels, and all kinds of different varieties of mechanisms. We'll go over a little bit of that sometime. I think it's an interesting topic to see how engineers and printers have solved the problem of having to number consecutively or even skip numbers and all kinds of different configurations for numbering. It's an interesting field, and I'll bring you along as we explore some of that stuff. I do have a little collection of machines, most of them given to me. I doubt if I've ever actually bought one new. I think they just accumulated auctions, or printers have gone out of business, or somebody just says, well, I got a little drawer of these things, what can I do with them? And I'll take them off your hands and, weed out the good ones and sort of just store the bad ones. But we'll get to it, and right now I'm going to leave you with my trademark, keep the faith.